Hi again. History of Christianity, page 330. The general course of Christianity in Western Europe, the victory of the Catholic Church over Arianism. For a time, the quality of Christian living declined, and the very existence of Christianity was threatened. Now he's talking about the period of the so-called Dark Ages, up to about 1000 AD. The danger was not the immediate disappearance of a formal profession of that religion. Indeed, as we are to see, the majority of the pagan invaders were fairly quickly brought to an outward adoption of Christianity, and the faith was even carried beyond what, in the year 500, had been its northern borders. The peril, rather, was the progressive denaturing of what bore the Christian name by secularization and corruption of many kinds. The decline was not sudden, nor was it continuous. Numerous attempts were made to stem the trend. Many individuals and groups were bright gleams in the night, and here and there partial recovery was effected. Yet by the middle of the 10th century, Christianity in Western Europe was at a lower ebb than it was ever again to be. As we attempt to picture a scene which has many details and which is very confusing, we can best do it by broad strokes, bringing out some of the main features and sketching in several of the more prominent individuals who figured in it. Now, the victory of the Catholic Church over Arianism. One of the features which marked the earlier portions of these centuries was the disappearance of Arian Christianity and the bringing into the Catholic Church of those who had professed it. Arianism had been the form of Christianity which had won a large proportion of the German peoples, or Germanic peoples, who had settled in the Roman Empire. This was true of most of the Goths, including the Ostrogoths, who ruled in much of Italy, and the VIsigoths, who were dominant in Spain. Insofar as they were Christians, the majority of the Lombards, who followed the Ostrogoths as masters of much of Italy, were Arians. Many of the Burgundians were of that faith. So were a large proportion of the Vandals, who controlled North Africa. The Arians regarded themselves as the true Christians, and their churches as the Catholic Church. However, the overwhelming majority of the Latinized Roman provincials over whom the invaders ruled were loyal to Nicaea. It was to be expected that the invaders, a minority, although the ruling minority, and of more nearly primitive culture, would eventually conform to the language, manners, and customs of the majority. As they did so, quite understandably, they accepted Nicene Catholic Christianity. By the end of the 7th century, most of the Arian Lombards had become Catholics. In Spain, the transition was earlier. Ricard, this is Recared, the Visigothic king, near the end of the 6th century, apparently decided that his realm must have one religion, and that had best be the faith of the majority. Accordingly, at his synod of Toledo, he formally became a Catholic and was quickly followed by a number of Arian bishops and nobles. In Gaul, the Arians, among the Burgundians, were beginning to turn Catholic before the end of the 6th century. The fact that Clovis, the ruler of the people who became dominant in Gaul, accepted the Nicene rather than the Arian form of the faith was decisive in the victory of the Catholic Church in that area. The Goths, who had ruled in the south of Gaul, were conquered by the Franks, and that meant the elimination of their Arianism. The reconquest of North Africa by the Romans under Justinian in the first half of the 6th century made for the triumph of the Catholic Church in that region. The disappearance of Arianism facilitated the religious and cultural unity in Western Europe. Had the Arians prevailed, or even persisted, as a strong factor with their national churches and lack of any generally acknowledged center of orthodoxy and administration, such as the Catholics possessed in Rome, that all-pervasive cohesion which the Catholic Church gave to an otherwise divided Europe might not have been achieved. So Latourette is no Roman Catholic, but he agrees that in some sense the triumph of Trinitarian Catholicism was a gain for Europe and the unity of the West in the long haul. Next time he deals with the emergence of Western forms of monasticism. I'll put in a link to a series we did. This is way back at the beginning, so maybe 5 years ago. A series we started, which has not been continued yet, but I hope to get it going again. It's called Babel in Brooklyn, and it starts with a discussion of Arianism. What was Arianism? Because witnesses, among many others, think that it was somehow the original Christianity, when history tells us a different story. So I retold that story from a book that I think there's about 5 to 6, maybe 4 to 6 videos. Follow the links. How the Watchtower repackages paganism. This particular episode, episode 3 of that series, is on Lucifer, Arius, and Athanasius. See you soon.